If you call someone stupid just because they know less than you, then guess what? You're stupid too. Because there's always someone out there who knows more than you. It's a chain reaction of stupidity. The moment you label someone an idiot, you're secretly announcing, "I'm the smart one here." But there's someone looking at you and thinking you're the idiot, and above them, someone else, and above them, and above, and above, until eventually, everyone on earth is stupid to someone else, until there's no one left. Einstein didn't know how to play chess. Maybe he couldn't fish. Maybe he couldn't even hammer a nail straight. So in some areas, he was kind of an idiot too, right? So what is stupidity really? Is it knowing less? Touching a hot stove even though you know better? Getting scammed 3 times and still believing the 4th will work out? Can someone be a genius in one field and a total mess in another? Absolutely. Because we're modular minds. Genius in one moment, hopeless in the next. The person you call an idiot today might be the one you go to for advice tomorrow. Or the opposite. Maybe the smartest sentence we can say is, "Yeah, sometimes I'm an idiot too." We're all smart in one way, dumb in another, experts at something, fish out of water in something else. Einstein might have cracked quantum physics, but he still struggled to find the other sock. So does that mean the person who can find both socks is smarter than Einstein? Or that someone who finds their socks but doesn't understand physics is stupid? Socrates once said, "True wisdom is knowing how little you know." Can someone who knows that ever be called stupid? Maybe the wisest are those who realize their stupidity first. But once ego enters the room, we start pretending, acting like we know things we don't, just to look smart, to keep the tail high. That's when everything gets messy. Intelligence isn't just about numbers. Some people read a whole room just by walking in. Some people understand your mood with one glance. Some speak 5 languages but don't know how to give a proper hug. So who's the idiot? Descartes said, "It's enough to use your mind well." But, well for who? What does using your mind well even mean? Is it IQ? Or empathy? Or maybe silence? Not because someone's heartless, but because they're tired of hearing the noise. And that too might be a kind of intelligence. Calling someone stupid, that's just your comfort zone talking. Because what they know, you don't. What you know, they don't. And so, ignorance accuses ignorance. Blaise Pascal said, "Man's greatest disease is trying to be something without realizing he's nothing." Maybe stupidity is just the absence of this realization. Einstein once said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." So, when we look down on others again and again, expecting to come out better each time, who's the real idiot? Being good at one thing doesn't make you smart in everything. It's like reading one page of a book and thinking you understand the whole story. That's why maybe the truest sentence is still, "Sometimes I'm an idiot too." We all have our areas. Sometimes we rise. Sometimes we trip on our own feet. Sometimes we think deeply. Sometimes we speak without thinking. One slip can become a lifetime label. But maybe, just maybe, the label itself is the real stupidity. We're all both lacking and gifted, depending on who's looking. So, before calling someone stupid, maybe pause. Because in that very moment, the one speaking might be the real idiot. Maybe stupidity isn't about not knowing, but about not realizing you don't know. Seeing yourself as the center of everything. That's where blindness begins. Because real intelligence doesn't come from what you know. It's born when you can accept your limits. Some people solve the universe's hardest equations, but still drown in the puzzle of their own ego. That's why stupidity isn't a lack of knowledge. It's the illusion of having too much. Overconfidence? Just ignorance and fancy clothing. The real fool? The one who insists on their wrong beliefs like they're facts, who watches themselves in a grand mirror and judges others through a broken lens. Wisdom begins with, I don't know. That's where learning starts. To think someone is stupid just because they know less? Yeah, that's a classic kind of stupidity. And ironically, by saying that out loud, we may already be that idiot in someone else's eyes. And life? It's just a few memories, a few words, a few regrets when you look back. We stumble through it, learning from a child's smile or a silent gravestone. And yet in all this mess, we still find time to call each other stupid. But maybe stupidity isn't in the wrong answers. Maybe it's in not asking any questions. There's a quote, often linked to Voltaire. Judge a man not by his answers, but by his questions. And Einstein said, the important thing is never to stop questioning. I believe curiosity has its own reason for existing. And he was right. Because just existing is already a question mark. Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. But what if we die without ever really knowing ourselves? What if our whole life is just watching other people be stupid while staying blind to our own darkness? Because sometimes, years later, you realize you kept repeating the same mistake and missed the real lesson. Kierkegaard said, life can only be understood backward, but it must be lived forward. And as we walk forward, how many times did we crash into our own shadows? Mock someone else's light? Maybe stupidity isn't falling, it's standing still and laughing at someone else's fall. Because no matter how much you know, time will carry you away. What you leave behind, a few footprints, a couple of thoughts, and maybe the smartest person isn't the one who knows the most, but the one who stops judging and accepts that none of us can truly know it all. In the end, it's not about how smart you are. It's about how human you can stay.